Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. My name is Trey.
I am Rungren.
And we got more Mordenkainen to talk about. But before we talk Mordenkainens, we need to let everybody that doesn't know and remind everybody that does know that Radiant Citadel has been delayed.
Yeah, production issues, what it said.
That's what they said. We may never know what exactly that means, but Journey to the Radiant Citadel has been delayed a month.
Yeah, both physical copy and the digital.
Yeah, at first I thought it was just going to be the physical one, but...
Well,
No.
I don't see how, not to be a conspiracy theorist, I got the wrong hat on. I don't see how that holds up. I mean, I guess you just don't want to release the digital, without having the physical, maybe.
Maybe. I'm just waiting on them to do it Warhammer style, where you buy the physical book and it has a code in the back that lets you get the digital one for free.
Mm-hmm.
Just...
Yeah. I look to something like that in the future. They're going to do that with Wizard of the Coast, having that now.
I think so. But yeah, we got Mordenkainens, right? And we stopped last week at Genasi. So if you missed last week's episode, it's on YouTube at youtube.com/c/thefullspectrum. We covered Aarakocra, Aasimar, Bugbear, Centaur, Changeling, Deep Gnomes, Dwergar, Eladrin, Fairies, Furbolgs, and Genasi. Don't know how far we're going to get this week because we're not going to rush these, but...
it kind of depends on what they have.
Right.
Don't do.
And I do have the new version of the racial traits and the old version of the racial traits, but I have to hunt them down per book for each one. So please bear with me on that. I wish I could tell you that I just had them up in a bunch of tabs, but do you know how many tabs that would be? This computer would not run. So our first one here are Gith.
Yes.
Githyanki and then Githzerai, but we're going to start with the Githyanki.
Okay.
Githyanki, pretty cool race, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very different from everything else. They're not just, for a long time, people considered Gith like space elves. They're not really.
No.
And they've got a troubled past, enslaved by Illithids,
Yeah.
and forced to work for them. A lot of people get confused between Githyanki and Githzerai. The easiest way for me to distinguish it is Githyanki are the ones that got away that decided to be better. Githzerai are the ones that got away that decided to just do the same thing for themselves instead.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It's two groups are opposed. And this should come up. This should be kind of the ideological differences, the escapes, this whole little triangle between the Mind Flayers and the Giths should be in. Explained out a little bit more in Spelljammer, I think.
I agree. So, our stats here. The Githyanki used to be your intelligence score increases by 1. Of course, we don't have racial bonuses like that anymore.
Right.
Now, it's just you get to choose. Their age, they reached adulthood in their late teens and lived for about a century. That's still about the same, but they can live a little bit longer now because age is no longer something set. In it, you choose, but any DM that's running it, that has been running, is probably going to run it about the same. You don't have to, but it probably will.
Which is kind of strange because most of the time, when lifespans come into play, for me anyway, is we're doing kind of like the epilogue thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're kind of wrapping up, and this is what. Before they passed on, they did this, and this is where they're buried, and things like that. Both of that. So, I don't know. It's, I guess I don't know. The openness of 5th edition is just going down to even that as well.
Right. It's, hey, maybe your Gith live longer in your world. Who knows?
Yeah.
Githyanki specifically also got a strength increase that we don't get anymore, and alignment is no longer predetermined by your race.
Yeah.
I need to sneeze.
Sneeze. Bless you, sir. Bless you.
We talked about this when they first got rid of alignment in racial bonuses.
Yeah.
We always roleplay it where, hey, the race may have an alignment, but individual members of that race may be different.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of the whole thing. All this is optional.
Right.
Some of the arguments I've seen are like, well, 5th edition, nothing is set.
Right.
Especially after Tasha's came out.
Right. It's kind of interesting. Their speed is still 30, but they lose Decadent Mastery. Githyanki do. Githyanki could learn one language of their choice and proficient with one skill or tool of their choice. And I assume this is because Spelljammer is going to be changing where they're from, because they used to be from the timeless city of Turnarath.
Yeah.
And my assumption is we're going to be getting into more of the escape from the Illithid and the loss of Turnarath, and so they wouldn't have this anymore.
Which that was their actual. I guess I'd have to double check because I don't think the Mind Flayer we still don't have like an official origin for the Mind Flayer,
right?
And I don't think there was one for them in second edition.
I don't think so.
I think that the origin for like where they come from and everything is later.
Yeah, I think so. They also lose out on Martial Prodigy, but again, races don't really determine your skills anymore when it comes to equipment. That was an old early 5th edition thing that has kind of been gotten rid of. However, instead now they gain astral knowledge. You can mystically access a reservoir of experiences of entities connected to the astral plane. Whenever you finish a long rest, you gain proficiency in one skill of your choice and with one weapon or tool of choice selected from the PHB. As you momentarily project your consciousness into the astral plane, these proficiencies last until the end of your next long rest.
Okay.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Hey,
handy.
Dark.
Handy. Hey, Dark.
Pretty solid. They also still get to keep their Githyanki psionics. So they know Mage Hand. As a cantrip, and it's invisible when they cast it. Then at 3rd level, they learn Jump and can cast it with the trait. At 5th level, they get Misty Step.
That's good.
And once they cast either one of those with the trait, they can't use it again until they finish a long rest, or if they use a spell slot.
Made sure Jump will never be cast.
Right. It's always going to be Misty Step.
Yeah. I don't. Jump's just not a good spell.
It's not. Oh, nice. You started the 5e campaign. Awesome. Int Wiz Cha, of course, for this, just like all the others from last week. You get to choose when you select the race. And none of the spells require spell components when you use them with the trait. And then they still are resistant to psychic damage, which is good. I think they should be. Shopping trip today was a Pathfinder 2e session. Shopping trip, nice. The Githyanki don't really change that much. I think the things that they lose are more than made up for in astral knowledge, being able to change out your expertise, basically. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Tomorrow IRL is a shopping trip. Nice. Lots and lots of shopping. We go from the Githyanki, though, to the Githzerai.
Yes.
And the Githzerai have had a couple small things changed, just like the Githyanki. Again, they've lost their ability score increase. It used to be Wisdom. They don't have that anymore, you know. That is gone. Just as all ability score increases are gone. And then they are medium, humanoid, walking speed 30, as usual. They've lost their lawful neutral alignment, because, again, we don't do that anymore. Mental discipline is changed a little bit, whereas before it was, hey, you had advantage on saving throws against being charmed and frightened. Now it is you have your innate psychic defenses grant you advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end charmed and frightened, which is better.
Yeah.
Because it's not just you have advantage to save from it, now you have advantage to end it too.
Yeah.
Which is very good. Very nice. And then, of course, they also have Zerai Psionics, which is almost exactly the same. Mage Hand cantrip, but then they get Shield and Detect Thoughts. Misty Step's really good, but I think these two are better.
Yeah.
To be able to work exactly the same way.
Well, I mean, we said a little bit jokingly about it. Honestly, you're not going to cast Jump.
No.
It would be the situation to you can get anywhere with Misty Step that you could with Jump.
Yep. Sure could.
It's kind of a...
And then, of course, they still have Psychic Resilience.
Yeah.
The Gith haven't really changed that much, honestly. They lost a couple of things that everybody lost, which doesn't hurt them, because any campaign that you try to join now, you're not going to have racial bonuses like that really anymore. Right. But instead, they gained a better use of their psionics, and they gained each an individual trait. Of the two, I think the Githyanki trait is going to be more useful for most players, being able to change out their skill and proficiency.
But the Githzerai spells, the psychic,
those are better.
Those are better. So,
and being able to have advantage on saving throws for Charmed and Frightened is pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Also, yay for food. Food is good. Next up, we have the Goblin. And Goblins have changed a good little bit here.
Yeah.
Some people are not happy about this. So goblins used to have an ability score increase of Dex by 2 and Con by 1, which is very good.
It is.
It was a good reason to play a goblin, to get a 2 and a 1.
Yeah.
Goblins could live up to 60 years. They were neutral, and their size was small with the modifier of 2d4 to roll.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're humanoid, considered goblinoid for any effects. Small, just small. You don't have to roll anymore. They get to keep their walking speed, but all the rest of those bonuses and everything are gone. However, they're now Fey. So they automatically get advantage on saving throws to avoid or end charmed.
So I think they're doing this with one of the old myths of where they come from, the tortured elves, right? That's how
for sure.
That's the only way goblins are Fey.
For sure. Sounds perfect tonight. Awesome.
Right on.
Yeah, they are now Fey. They still have dark vision, and that's good, right? It's exactly the same, basically 60 feet. Fury of the Smalls changed a little bit. They do still have it.
Right.
I know a lot of the early reports were that they just don't have it anymore. They do still have it.
Yeah, but that's not. They did lose something very good.
Yes, and we're gonna get into that here. So Fury of the Small used to be when you damage a creature with an attack or a spell, and it's larger than you, you can cause the attacker of the spell to deal extra damage to the creature. Right?
Yeah.
Extra damage equals your level, which is very good. Now, when you damage a creature with an attack or a spell and the creature size is larger than yours, you can cause the attack or spell to deal extra damage. The damage equals your proficiency bonus. So at early levels, it's better.
Yeah.
But it does fall off.
But that would make an argument for a proficiency die.
Yeah.
Imagine rolling a d12.
Oh, right. It also used to only work per long rest.
Mm-hmm.
Now it works a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus.
That's better.
So you get to use it more, but eventually it will be doing it. I don't just say eventually. It will drop off pretty hard after level 3.
Yes.
But you get to use it a lot more. So it definitely is a nerf, but how much of a nerf it is depends on how much you remember to use it, basically.
Yeah.
However, they do still get to keep Nimble Escape.
Yeah.
So they still get to take disadvantage or hide action as a bonus action on each of their turns, separate of anything else they have.
Disengage.
Yeah. That's the right one. It's the right one.
For a second, my brain was Rolodexing for a second because you said disadvantage, and I was like, wait, what do they cause disadvantage on?
I didn't realize I said it. Yeah, I was just thinking of those two options. Disengage is the right one because you go Goblin Berserker. Yeah. Berserker, Barbarian.
Barbarian, yeah.
And, I mean, you could go Berserker, Barbarian, but then you get in there and you disengage as a bonus action. But, no, I think Goblin and another race coming up are one of the big ones that people were pretty upset about.
Yeah.
Fury of the Small is really strong when you're like level 15.
Yeah.
And you're just getting 15 flat damage added to everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It is. It is.
But again, you can only use it once per long rest.
Right.
Whereas now you're getting 3 or 4 or 5 damage every 5 times a fight, basically. Yeah. So
you need to add up there.
It's a tough call. It will eventually total out to more, but I understand why people are upset. Next up is
hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
They no longer have pack tactics.
So goblins didn't have pack tactics.
Was that
That's kobolds.
Kobold, okay.
And we're gonna get into that.
Okay.
Because that's another one that people are really upset about.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
People are pretty, and understandably, people are pretty upset about that. That's one of the things that makes kobolds. Yeah. Next up are Goliaths. And Goliaths are a little interesting because, again, they were an early race added, which means they've lost a lot of the other stuff. Ability score increase used to be 2 strength, 1 con. They've lost that. Lifespan is still whatever you want it to be, but originally it was comparable to humans. And the size before was, a whole, hey, here's a roll. You can roll and get your size. You can still do that if you want to. But the new height is just your medium.
They're trying the idea of changing a lot of this stuff. Part of it is more balance.
Yeah.
There's also a political side of it, and that goes in with, getting rid of, saying orcs are evil.
Right.
And things like that.
Yeah, nothing has a built-in alignment anymore.
Yeah. And so, and really it didn't in the first place. It was more, everything in D&D is kind of a suggestion.
Right. None of it's hard rules, unless your table makes them hard rules.
Right. Until you roll the dice and start playing the game with the rules that everybody agreed on, they're optional.
Yeah.
So, I think with some, there's also a fear. It seems like they have a fear of one race being better than another race,
right,
or perceived as better than another race. But then again,
welcome, Waverly.
They are, that's kind of what made some of these other races special.
For sure.
So it's a trade-off. It does make, when you make your character with these new rules and everything, the group is more balanced.
Yeah.
And from a DM standpoint, it does make a balanced group makes things a little bit easier. In aspects. Personally, I think they've gone overboard on a couple things, but I don't think it's detrimental to the game necessarily.
Right. I think as a whole, the game will be better for these changes, even if I don't agree with all of these changes.
Yeah.
But I want to cap this off real quick here on Goliaths, because I saw some online discourse being like, Goliaths aren't large anymore. Goliaths were never large. Goliaths have always been medium. Don't know why people thought they were large.
Because they count as large for push, pull, and carrying capacity.
Right, and they still have that.
That's thing. Yeah,
that's still a thing. It feels really weird to me that just hey,
yeah,
they're not large. They've always been medium.
Yeah.
So, actually, I misspoke a second ago, because one of the things they've lost is the ability to count as one size larger when carrying things or pushing things. Goliaths don't have that anymore. That's an okay thing to be upset about, I think.
Yeah.
Because that genuinely changes the way the Goliath plays.
It does, because there's been many times when someone was playing a Goliath in there where the group kind of just turned. Like, something's got to be moved. Well, they turn and look at the Goliath.
I'm sorry. I've misspoken again. I was right the first time.
Gosh,
they still
Trey.
have it, but the name has changed. Look,
I've
got 60 races in front of me here. Yeah, the name has changed.
Okay.
Which is weird because Leonins and Bugbears still have it, and it's called Powerful Build. But it's now called Little Giant for Goliaths. You have proficiency in athletics, which is weird because a lot of the new races don't give you proficiency in specific skills.
Yeah.
But this one does. And you count as one size larger when carrying weight for push, drag, lift.
There's a few. I don't know that there's any races that you play that actually count as large straight out the bat. But if your Goliath is a little bit taller than normal, you're going to have the push pull anyway. Yeah. So it's or saying you're playing a Bugbear or
a Leonin,
Furbolg, something like that. Yeah. That's feasible that they might be topping that at 10 foot.
Yeah. I apologize for that slip up, but again, for some reason they've changed the name when it's Powerful Build on literally everyone else. And I guess it's because they combined that and Natural Athlete into Little Giant.
Okay.
But, okay, I don't know why, but they did.
I mean, technically they're Little Giants, but...
Yeah. They still have Mountain Born, though it's changed a little bit. They're resistant to cold damage. You also naturally acclimate to high altitudes, even if you've never been to one. This includes elevations above 20,000 feet. It used to be you feel comfortable at heights, but you had to have been in something reasonable. Whereas now it's like you're from a snowy mountain, so you're on another mountain, and it feels comfortable to you. Now it's any height. You're just like, yeah, okay, I'll get used to this pretty quick because I live up high. So that's cool.
As far as wanting to be large, not medium, 8 foot tall, no, 8'2" tall, no. Honestly, the class sizes, when you look at what counts in each height, it's kind of a wide range.
Yeah.
That may not, as other things in D&D. So I think, because when you go you go to large, giant, and like, what can be gargantuan?
Right.
I think the top end of that for anything you'll find on land would be the worm, right, Sam?
Yeah.
The purple worm?
Yeah, the purple worm.
And then...
Which is much bigger
than a storm giant.
Yeah.
Which is not gargantuan.
Right.
but it's, that's 25 foot tall, I think.
Right.
You know? I don't know.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah. They're more gameplay terms than.
Yeah.
I would consider it an 8 foot tall. Well, I saw an 8 foot tall knoll. I'd be like, yeah, that's a large knoll.
Very much so. Stone's endurance has also changed.
Okay.
In kind of a weird way. Used to be you can focus yourself to occasionally shrug off injury. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d12. Add your con mod to the number rolled and reduce the damage by that total. Can't use it again until you finish a long rest, right? Mm-hmm. Now it reads, you can supernaturally draw on unyielding stone to shrug off harm. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to roll a d12. Add your con mod to the number rolled and reduce the damage by that total. And you can use it equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. That's really strong.
It is, but my big problem is I don't want it supernatural.
Right.
The Goliath is tough.
Yeah.
They're just tough. It's not a supernatural thing.
Shrug off damage.
Yeah, so they do.
Purple worm, nice. Purple worms are great. So I understand why people would be upset about Goliath changes, but again, if you're upset because Goliath's not large, he never was.
Yeah.
Please calm down.
Yeah.
Psychotic 5'2" elf, super bubbly happy. Okay, why not? Yeah. Why not? Heron God is next, and there's a little quote here from Mordenkainen.
Okay.
Here and gone, Fey puns are a menace. Just wanted to throw that out there, make sure we got that in there.
Worked hard on that one.
That was important to me. Mordenkainen has a sense of humor like mine.
Yeah.
So Heron God's very new, right? Have not. Here and gone. And gone.
Yeah. Rebus disappeared.
Just came out not that long ago, right?
Right.
Got very, very slight changes.
Yeah.
Not anything too big here. They're still humanoid. They still can be medium or small. You choose the size when you select the race. Walking speed's still 30, even though I personally think it should probably be a little bit higher. You can add your proficiency bonus to your initiative roll still. But Leo... I did it when we read it in the book too. Leporine senses is the same still, proficiency and perception. Lucky footwork has had a very slight change. When you roll a dex saving throw, you can use your reaction to roll a d4 and add it to the save, potentially turning the failure into success. You can't use this reaction if you're prone or if your speed is 0.
Okay.
So it's just a clarification of the rules. You can't do that if you're prone. Why would you be able to?
Right.
And then the hop, as far as I can tell, seems to be exactly the same, except now the digital version links to the opportunity attacks page. As far as I can tell, that's the only change.
Okay.
As a bonus action, you can jump a number of feet equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking opportunity attacks. You can use this trait only if your speed's greater than 0. You can use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So.
Just give them a jump equal to their walking speed. I realize, if you're going to give stuff flying speed,
give them jumping
walking speed and let people do what they will with monks on that.
Yeah.
Then, just...
Herringons are cool.
Yeah. I just think they deserve a little more than 25-foot
I agree.
max jump.
Give me a racial jumping attack where I can Mario somebody.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, even if you did like the Minotaur's charge.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Man, Minotaurs are cool. Sorry. Next up are hobgoblins.
Okay.
And hobgoblins are also now, can you guess?
Fae.
Because of course they are.
Are they counting? Do they count Oni as Fae? I need to look at that.
I don't know. That's a good question. We need to double check that. I don't think Oni are not in this book.
Okay.
So probably not yet, right?
Oh yeah.
That'll come.
Yeah.
Maybe in Radiant Sentinel. That'd be the place to do it if it was my call.
Yeah.
So hobgoblins have lost their con increase, right? And they've lost their int increase. Age used to be mature at the same rate as humans. Now it's whatever you want. And they used to have a size modifier 2d10. It's kind of interesting that hobgoblins never really had a set alignment, which is weird to me when goblins do, but...
Yeah. Well, but a hobgoblin... is different.
They for sure.
Because they're much more militaristic. They're much. If they did have alignment, whatever the second part would be, the first part would be lawful.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree. Also, the picture they have here of a hobgoblin is a bard who's got a lute that has an axe blade built into it.
Might as well.
And I really like that. They count as they're humanoids, but count as goblinoids for any effects now. Thank goodness. Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
They still have their dark vision. They now, of course, have Fey ancestry, advantage on saving throws against being charmed.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to think they're going to make the Oni Fey. If the hobgoblin is Fey,
yeah,
the Oni's going to end up being Fey.
I think
really weird.
They're probably going to have to, right?
Right.
Hobgoblins also, I should tell you now, have changed quite a bit.
Well, is it just me, or if I ran a group of hobgoblins, they're going to run into an Oni?
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
But it almost feels like they're trying to make hobgoblins like Onis because they've lost what was it called? Martial training, and they've lost saving face. Which was like the big thing for hobgoblins.
Which kind of makes that's another thing though. A lot of optional rules and stuff because I mentioned they'd run into an Oni at some point. Also, they'd probably have honor rolls.
Yeah,
as well.
I agree.
But
for anybody who didn't know, saving face was where hobgoblins were careful not to show weakness in front of their allies for fear of losing status. If they missed with an attack roll or fail an ability check or saving throw, they gain a bonus to the roll equal to the number of allies that can see them within 30 feet. Once they use that trait, they couldn't use it again until a long rest. The new version of that, because they have a version of that, but it's not the same.
Okay.
Is Fortune from the Mini. If you miss with an attack roll or fail an ability check or a saving throw, you can draw on your bonds of reciprocity. Is that how you say that word?
Yeah,
reciprocity?
Reciprocity, yeah.
To gain a bonus to the roll equal to the number of allies you can see within 30 feet of you, maximum bonus of 3. Used to be maximum of 5. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So it still functions close to the same, but I feel like it's lost some of that flavor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now it's just, hey, we're all in this together, right? Ha ha. But it just doesn't feel the same to me anymore.
Yeah, and man, they really should. You know, if I tell you you're getting attacked by goblins, that's one thing. If I tell you you're getting attacked by hobgoblins, another.
Yeah.
If your characters are in the know, they're gonna one's gonna be a much more coordinated attack. One's gonna be, I don't know.
They've also made them. What's the right word here? More friendly is maybe the way. Even though this Fey bard, like this hobgoblin bard, is like covered in heavy armor. They have Fey gift now. You can use this trait to take the help action as a bonus action, and you can do so a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Starting at 3rd level, choose one of the options below each time you take the help action with this trait. Your choices are hospitality, passage, and spite. Hospitality is you and the creature you help each gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d6 plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay.
But just okay.
That's good.
That's pretty solid, right?
Yeah.
The second one, passage, is you and the creature you help each increase your walking speeds by 10 feet until the start of your next turn.
I want to see some combos coming out of that.
Yeah. And then spite is until the start of your next turn. The first time the creature you help hits a target with an attack roll, that target has disadvantage on the next attack roll it makes within the next minute.
Okay.
It's good.
It is.
It's
good.
very good. It just doesn't feel like a hobgoblin to me.
Yeah, no, I don't. And like I said, everything's optional.
Yeah.
And there's stuff that there's rules in my campaigns that are not 5e.
Right.
Like the life cleric being a big one.
Yeah.
Not using bladed weapons.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, they don't. Hobgoblins need a flavor. But, and I just don't feel like they're really coming through with it on that one.
Yeah. When I think of a hobgoblin, I think of a soldier that cares so much about his pride.
Yeah.
That, he's going to throw himself out there even though he knows he's going to die.
Well, also a lot of mine's based in Coratur.
Yeah, for sure.
From 2nd edition.
For sure.
And they're not seen as goblins. They're not seen as, orcs or anything like that.
Yeah. And when I talked about the ones that have been changed and that I think people have a right to be upset on, this is one of them.
Yeah.
But I think in play, this is going to be a much better to play Hobgoblin.
Yeah, it's just. I think
I would rather this be a different race.
Right, and I think I would, I want to push some military stuff.
Yeah.
On the idea, even if you've gone Ronin, so to speak.
Yeah.
I
agree. But yeah, you got your help actions now.
Yeah.
There's a lot you can do. Again, I think this is going to be a really fun race to play.
It just doesn't feel like
doesn't feel like a Hobgoblin.
And obviously there's some very strong feels about it in chat.
Yes,
and I understand it
for sure.
I understand it, dog. I do.
Like I want, like when you look at your warlike races for your monster races, right?
Yeah,
your monster races.
Yeah,
you have your orcs that are more barbaric and fierce.
Yeah,
you have your goblins that are more wild. You have your kobolds that are more tricksy.
Yeah.
And then you have your hobgoblins that are more prideful, standard military, organized forces.
Yeah. They're going to plan. They're going to,
And technically, they're still doing that. I think if they had worded some of these differently, it wouldn't feel like that. Because when you look at, like, Passage, if you call that Passage of Arms, where it's like, hey, now we can move further together, you and me, soldiers.
Yeah, but it's not that. It's just in the whole. It's just the whole outline of it, really.
Yeah,
I agree that but the whole setup of what a hobgoblin is not really.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, yeah, and they don't have that anymore, Dart, where you're limited on classes, but. In older editions, that was the reasons you played. That was one of the reasons you picked human or you picked elf.
Yeah,
or
you're going to play a wizard.
Yeah.
Guess what?
That you picked that.
You're not
and
gonna
there's
play a
also
dwarf.
stuff about dual classing and multi-classing, and that was different. And at that time, if you let anybody be anything, it really threw out the balance of the game.
Yeah, for sure it did.
Again, and there's not that much of a one of the. It's not the worry in 5e so much. And like I said earlier, I think they went too far, or a little overboard with some of it, but it's still going to be a good game, I think.
Sorry, I'm just remembering playing 3rd edition. If you play a dwarf wizard, you're the only wizard that has like 15 AC or 15 HP.
Yeah,
like, you're the only wizard that's making it past session 1.
Well, like you couldn't be a dwarf wizard in the early editions.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you couldn't. Because of your magic resistance, some of your spells wouldn't work.
Yep.
So it was a little. It was definitely different.
We have another one that people I think are going to be a little upset with next.
Yeah.
Not to the point of
that
the
one?
hobgoblins,
Okay.
but because next up is Kenku. And Kenku haven't changed a lot, but they have changed a little bit. Now, of course, they lose their ability score increase. It used to be Dex 2, Wiz 1. And their age used to be just a shorter lifespan than humans. Reached maturity about 12 and lived to 60. Your age can be basically whatever you want it to be now. Size modifier used to be 2d8. Now they're just medium.
Yeah, they've pretty much got rid of the
That's all gone.
rolling for size.
You can be small, though, now, if you want to be. You can be a small Kenku.
Okay.
So that's nice. Expert Forgery has changed into Expert Duplication. And I don't know why the change on that.
I think the only thing I can think of would be to clarify it from what rogues do.
Yeah, maybe so.
And
maybe so.
Some of the effects, what you would roll for forgery.
Yeah.
That you may not roll for as a duplication.
For sure.
Maybe. That's the only thing I can think.
And the wording is pretty much that. You have advantage on all checks made. The old one, you have advantage on all checks made to produce forgeries or duplicates of existing objects. Now it's you have advantage on any ability checks you make to produce an exact duplicate. It's just slight change, but,
Yeah.
The Kenku training has turned into Kenku Recall.
Okay.
So Kenku training used to be you're proficient in your choice of 2 of the following skills: acrobatics, deception, stealth, and sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Kenku Recall is thanks to your supernaturally good memory, you have proficiency in 2 skills of your choice.
Yeah.
Which is just your choice.
Yeah.
You get to choose them.
Okay.
Moreover, when you make an ability check using any skill in which you have proficiency, you can give yourself advantage on the check before rolling the d20.
Dang.
You can give yourself advantage in this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and get all of them back on a long rest.
Okay. That's
That's really strong.
quite a bit of advantage rolls there.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know how I feel about that. And then finally, mimicry has changed a little bit. Used to, you could mimic any sound you hear, and then you would get advantage on wisdom, insight checks contested against your deception check. You get advantage on that, on the contest.
Yeah.
Now, you can accurately mimic sounds you have heard, including voices. A creature that hears the sounds you make can tell they are imitations only with a successful wisdom save, an insight check, against a DC of 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. So now it's just there is a save that they have to pass the insight check of.
Okay. That could, if you build it right and you go, good. I mean, you could really make it tough for people to, if you put a lot into your charisma,
Yeah.
you're going to be really good at that.
Yeah.
You're a really good spy. Everything in 5e is advantage and disadvantage.
Right.
And if you can give or give either one or get either one and control that, it's kind of a big deal. It's getting to roll 2 20s instead of one and taking the higher. So when it comes to the skills, that's I'm almost that should be like bardic or roguish, not. I don't know. It's kind of weird being tied to a race. But then they've been given proficiencies for other ones where you just like after a long race you pick this. Yeah. So
it's also, to clarify, it's not just the ones that you chose. It's any of them you have proficiency in. It's very good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give myself advantage on this.
Yeah.
So that's the Kinku. No flight speed. Sorry, that's not coming. It's not happening. I know people on the internet, of course, were upset. They wanted flight speeds. It's not happening.
Well, you have to have a little tragedy.
Yeah. Kinku can't fly. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If your DM lets them fly, that's great, but otherwise they cannot fly.
Well, somehow they earn it.
Right. Let me find the next one here. I got to dig it up in the middle of all these tables because the next one is the kobold, which is going to be the fun conversation.
Yeah. This is one. Yeah.
This is the one people are really upset by.
Yeah.
And I get it. I understand why. Here we go. Kobold traits. So kobolds used to give dexterity increase by 2. Mm-hmm. Oh no, the Kinku cannot fly. The Aarakocra can fly. The Owlin can fly.
Yeah.
But the Kinku cannot fly.
Yeah.
They are grounded bird people.
But he mentioned at the DM, if I ran one more campaign in this world that I was running, and somebody made a Kinku, they would have a flight speed.
Can I play a Kinku that's an emperor penguin?
All right. Yeah. And take that title seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't speak a word, but just constantly carries himself with the demeanor of an emperor.
Yeah.
And the only word he mimics is kneel. So, kobolds. Kobolds are little dragon guys. Little tiny dragon men. Little baby dragon pups.
Yeah.
That don't have a lot going for them, but their kit was actually like really good. There was a good reason to play kobolds before.
Right. This is what I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
And I think they do still have some good stuff now, but it definitely feels different.
Yeah.
Kind of in the same vein as the hobgoblin.
Well, yeah. This directly affects your battle tactics with a kobold. If you're playing a kobold.
It does. Your kobold will be different now than it was before.
Yeah.
So they lost their dex increase of 2.
Right.
They used to reach adulthood at age 6, live up to 120 years. Do that however you want, but it's not set now.
Yeah.
Size was small. They had dark vision to 60 feet. They still have that. Size is still small. They still have 30 feet walking speed. But they have... I'm just going to say the abilities are gone, and we're going to get into the differences because all of the ability names have changed.
Yeah.
Grovel, Cower, and Beg is changed. Used to, as an action on your turn, you can cower pathetically to distract nearby foes. Till the end of your next turn, your allies gain advantage on attack rolls against enemies within 10 feet of you that can see you.
Yeah.
Once you use this trait, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest.
Yeah.
That was the old version. Now, instead, You have Draconic Cry. As a bonus action, you let out a cry at your enemies within 10 feet of you. Till the start of your next turn, you and your allies have advantage on attack rolls against any of those enemies who could hear you.
That's pretty good.
You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. It's just free advantage.
Yeah.
As a bonus action.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good for sure. They depends on the drawing. I've seen some pretty derpy looking kobolds.
Yeah, but the default kobold does look pretty cool.
Yeah. Small dragonborn, yes.
The big one is pack tactics, right? The way pack tactics worked was you have advantage on an attack roll against a creature if at least one of your allies is within 5 feet of the creature and the ally isn't incapacitated.
Yeah.
It's just free flanking.
Yes.
That's gone. Instead, they have nothing.
Yeah.
To counteract that, it's just gone.
Yeah. The whole thing was a bunch of little things, piling on. Mm-hmm. You don't send out one kobold to go one-on-one with anything.
Right.
So I understand it. And yeah, it doesn't make any sense because there's lots of stuff you did as a kobold. If you played a kobold running by smacking something,
yeah,
you took that into account that,
I've got pack tactics.
If I let my people go out there and start the fight, then I can run around and get advantage on everything I need to.
Yep.
Don't
need to actually be flanking. I just get it.
Yeah. I can get in, I can get out. Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's just a straight nerf in that way, I think, to kobolds.
Mm-hmm.
The new stuff they get's pretty cool. We're going to get into it in a second. But they've also lost their sunlight sensitivity, which I guess is a buff.
Yeah.
They used to have a disadvantage on attack rolls and on wisdom perception checks that rely on sight when the target of their attack, or whatever they are trying to perceive, is in direct sunlight. That's gone now. But again, the loss of pack tactics really hurts.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's the best characters. They have strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah,
and it's like, don't try so hard to get rid of all the weaknesses.
I agree. What they've gotten in return instead, though, is Kobold Legacy. Kobold's connections to dragons can manifest in unpredictable ways in an individual kobold. Choose one of the following legacy options for your kobold, and you have Craftiness, Defiance, or Draconic Sorcery. Okay. And you choose one of these when you make your kobold.
Based off the names, I know what I'm picking.
Right. Craftiness is you have proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: Arcana, Investigation, Medicine, Sleight of Hand, Survival. Just one.
Yeah.
I feel like compared to the other two options, could have at least given me two.
Yeah.
Defiance. You have advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. That's not too bad.
No.
And then there's Draconic Sorcery.
It doesn't seem like a kobold.
Right. Draconic Sorcery, one cantrip of your choice from the Sorcerer spell list. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is your spellcasting ability for that cantrip, and you choose it when you select the race.
That's not bad. I mean, from the names and from the descriptions, I know which one I'd be picking.
Yeah, I'm choosing Draconic Sorcery.
Yeah.
I'm getting a Sorcerer cantrip.
I think, like, the first one, if craftiness should be, give expertise in something crafty.
Yep.
Medicine is not crafty.
I agree.
Anyway.
I agree. And again, it feels like it's not really the identity of the kobold, much like the hobgoblin, right? Yeah. It's like now they're just little dragon guys. Mm-hmm. When before they were lil dragon guys, without the T's. It's just lil.
Yeah. Well, also I see it doesn't give them like a reason to stop working for a dragon to go out to be an adventurer.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, your kobold can still be scrappy, but it feels like now they're pushing them more to be heroic in a way that I don't know that I love for kobolds. I like kobolds being little scrappy guys.
Yeah, I do too. And a player kobold playing the coward, mm-hmm. and then doing the right thing in spite of it. I don't know. It's like it maybe it is just flavor stuff.
I think so, and you could still add that flavor to your character. And I absolutely will if I play a kobold.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But I feel like on the whole what they're doing here is, how do I word this right? When I compare this to the books that I'm looking at to get the other stuff, I'm getting just a set of traits here and every once in a while a quote.
Right.
Whereas in the others I'm getting descriptions, I'm getting backgrounds, and maybe you can't do that for a book that has this many monsters in it or this many races in it.
Possibly, but man, you really don't need much.
I just need a blurb.
Yeah, and like I said, it's about. I think there's some worry about being afraid to say something.
I'll tell you right now, Wizards, since you own D&D Beyond now,
Yeah.
if you want me to write blurbs, if you want me and Rundgren to write blurbs for all these races, we will.
Heck yeah.
We'll do it. We'll write you a little blurb of, hey, this is what a kobold is.
Yeah.
Keep it less than 200 words apiece. There you go.
You know what? I'll do a kobold in 3 different settings.
Yeah.
So that you have 3 different type. I don't know. It's just, yeah.
I agree. We probably have time for one more. What do you think?
Let's get one more.
This will have us ending the L's, and we'll be moving on to M's next week.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
The lizard folk.
Okay.
So lizard folk are pretty interesting, right? Very, what's the right word? Very
right.
sluggish in a lot of ways until it's time to fight. Lizard folk are known to just like hang out in the sun for a while.
As lizards do?
Yeah. But they're also very warlike when they need to be. They're very tribal. They're very interesting. They have lost the ability score increase, all the usual stuff. I used to reach maturity around age 14. Very little longer than 60. Now it's kind of up to you, you know.
Yeah.
Size is still medium. Walking speed is 30 feet. They still have their swimming speed of 30 feet, equal to the walking speed. Now, specify, the ruling is now equal to the walking speed. So if you get something that increases your walking speed, it also increases your swimming speed.
Monks everywhere.
Yep, it's pretty
Flying,
great.
swimming monks.
It's pretty great. Their bite has changed. It is still an unarmed strike.
Okay.
Before, when you hit with it, you do piercing damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength mod.
Right.
Instead of the bludgeoning damage of an unarmed strike. Now it's when you hit with it, the strike deals 1d6 plus your strength mod instead of bludgeoning for a normal strike, but it no longer has to be the fanged maw. It's just a bite. You don't have to have fangs technically to do it.
Okay.
So if you want to make a lizard man that has no fangs, you can still bite.
Why? I don't know.
I guess it's supposed to be like some lizards that have teeth on the inside instead of... most lizards do, but some lizards have fangs.
Yeah.
And some don't. So I guess that's why.
Maybe.
It seems like a small...
I'm making a Komodo dragon.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. You poison everything.
Yes.
You can now hold your breath for 15 minutes at a time.
That's handy.
Which before I believe was just 10. So you still have your hungry jaws. Throw yourself into a feeding frenzy. But it's changed a little bit. Now, as a bonus action, you can make a special attack with your bite. If it hits, it deals normal damage, and you gain temporary hit points equal to your proficiency bonus.
Okay.
And you can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, regaining all at a long rest.
I still don't understand why you can't get a grip with that bite.
I agree. I think you should be able to.
I mean, you can grapple, you know, and I accept that, but that bite should be able to count. You should be able to do something extra.
A
more
gummy
with that.
bite.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's yeah. I like the healing on it though. That's pretty good.
That is. That's a nice touch.
They still have their natural armor. It is still, hey, when you're not wearing armor, AC is 13 plus your dex mod.
Right.
You can use your natural armor to determine your AC if the armor you wear would leave you with lower AC. A shield's benefits apply as normal when you use natural's armor. So still works the same way. And then, interestingly, they get to keep nature's intuition, even though everybody is losing their, like, hey, you get 2 skills.
Yeah.
Thanks to your mystical connection to nature, you gain proficiency with 2 of the following skills of your choice: animal handling, medicine, nature, perception, stealth, or survival. They just get to keep those.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't know. It's out of all you talk about the not much in the way of description, stuff like that. You really put a lot more on the, as far as like coming up with everything, you put a lot more on the players and DM. It seems like, instead of giving the world. And so, cause so not me personally, but I know there's people out there that run D&D. They run the world.
Absolutely.
So it's I don't know. To me, there's a two-edged sword.
Yeah, I agree.
Running through all this.
Now, lizard folk have lost one thing. Outright.
Okay.
And I'm curious your thoughts on this. They've lost Cunning Artisan. As part of a short rest, they used to be able to harvest bone and hide from a slain beast, construct, dragon, monstrosity, or plant creature, small or larger, to create one of the following items: a shield, a club, a javelin, or 1d4 darts or blowgun needles. And they would need a blade to do it, or artisan tools as leatherworker tools. They just don't have that now.
Well, that's kind of crap. I mean, It's like taking the tinkering away from a gnome. I don't get it.
I don't understand why they got rid of that.
I don't either.
But it's just gone now. I'm still going to do it if I play a lizard man.
Well, it's like, can we... Obviously, you could have civilized city, in a futuristic sci-fi city lizard folk.
For sure. Know? And I feel like that's part of this, is to get away from the tribal nature of it.
But sometimes the tribal nature is what works. I want a shaman.
Yeah.
And look, especially if it's a bunch of city slickers.
Yeah.
Going out and dealing with something that they, they're not normally do. I don't know. It's like strip flavor out of stuff. And the character creation overall, it's good.
Right.
I think it's just.
I guess, and I wonder how much of it is this, how many DMs wouldn't allow, or whether that actually happened or not, the perception of DMs that wouldn't allow people to run a civilized lizard man, for instance, or a more friendly hobgoblin, for instance. Whereas it's D&D, you make your character what you want to make it.
Yeah.
If you want to be a refined aristocrat lizard man, you can do that.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah.
That's half the fun,
Yeah.
You don't have to take the stuff away from the class. Like, I can be an orc that originally started out as a part of a war band that was, just working for Grumpsh, and I can still come back and be a good member of society.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels weird to me to get rid of some of that class feature. And I guess that's the big thing for the ones that we covered today that people are really upset about, other than the Goliath, is that it feels like some of that race identity has been taken away.
Yeah. It does. That's a flavor thing.
Yeah. They're all going to be better to play because of this. I don't think any of them, except for maybe the Kobold, is going to be worse to play. And the Kobold's not going to be worse. It's going to be very different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting a free cantrip from the first spell list, that's pretty solid.
It is. And I think you're just going to have more work cut out for you in session 0. Yeah. I guess not necessarily a bad thing. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like you have a good start, a good ground.
Right.
I guess maybe that's where backgrounds and stuff will come in.
For sure.
But we'll see.
I think part of what makes this so weird is that it's coming without a new edition, right? Because every time there's a new edition, we get the races, and we do this.
Yeah.
We go over how they've changed, and we go, okay, I liked this version more, but I'll try this version.
Yeah.
But this is coming in the middle of an edition.
Yeah.
Which feels weird.
It does. 5.5. Mm-hmm. Or, some people even call it 6th edition, so as a joke, so. All right.
Next week, we'll start with the Minotaur.
And
then we'll have our final run here. Do you want me to give you the list of the races we have remaining?
Sure. Let's go down real quick.
So we have Minotaur, Orc, Satyr, Sea Elf, Shatterkai, Shifter, Tabaxi, Tortle, Triton, and Yuan Ti.
I imagine. I'm going to take a guess because the way they've been doing things, and out of the rest of that list, the Satyr and probably the Yuan Ti are probably nerfed the most.
Yeah.
If they're nerfed.
I think you're going to be a little surprised.
Okay.
And then we're not done with this book after that because we have a bunch of new monsters.
Yeah, and see how they're going to lay out. Because we talked before about like the way they're doing spells for monsters and other things, and coming across more as abilities than having to come up with spells and stuff. So yeah, it should be interesting to get into that part of it too, and see what they've done with the monsters. We've
got probably 3, I would say, more episodes based on how many monsters are in this book.
Okay.
On this book would have carried us over to Journey into the Radiant Citadel, but it got delayed.
Yeah.
So after that, we'll probably go back to the plains.
Yeah.
Until
we'll go back till that comes out, and we can look at it and discuss it, and then it'll be probably back finishing up the plains into Spelljammer. Yeah. Woo, okay. A lot of stuff this year.
Yeah. Exciting stuff to come. So please continue to look forward to it.
Absolutely.
I guess we'll close out then. With all that said then, I've been Trey.
I've been Rungren.
And we've been the Full Spectrum D&D podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that D&D has to offer.